All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy on Tap podcast with your boy Eric Sonnier and my friend Blake Gambino, my co-host. What's happening, dude? It's been a while.
Hey, it's good to be back though. It has been a minute. It's the summertime, so we're getting in our vacations and our time with our wives and stuff, what you got to do if you're going to delve into fantasy deep. You know how it goes. Got to give your wife some time so she can be cool with you going to do all this. So
Absolutely, I
good to be
totally
back
agree.
though.
Yeah, fantasy. It's July. Fantasy's gonna be starting in the next month or two, so that's exciting. We just got done with all our team previews for the fantasy six pack. Your boy did the NFC South, and it went pretty well. It seems like we're getting a few views, so that's always good. So since we're talking about that, actually, fantasy six pack, I need you guys to like, subscribe, go on their website, become an all access member of Fantasy Six Pack to get access to award-winning rankings, draft sheets, which actually just came out recently, the draft cheat sheets. So I know we got some, fishbowl and other leagues coming to start drafting right now. So go on those, the DFS projections, betting tools, and other great content. Best of all, you get access to our Discord where you can, talk advice, get custom advice for your leagues. So just go to fantasysixpack.net/plans to sign up today. All right. Well, we're not going to keep going for that too much longer. We're going to jump right into what we're going to be talking about today, and it's just players to avoid in fantasy football redraft leagues. This isn't us saying you should and shouldn't draft these guys. You're just saying guys that we're going to avoid at their current ADPs because a couple of these guys you're going to be like, why wouldn't you draft this guy? I mean, based off last year, or just the past couple of years, we got a few studs. So without further ado, Blake, why don't you jump in and tell us
Yeah.
your first guy?
Look. I'll start off with the one that I know you were kind of surprised by in my list. I literally just wrote any Rams player, which immediately threw you off because you're like, well, there's a guy named Cooper Kupp. He's pretty good. I just think the Rams are going to be probably one of the worst, if not the worst team in the league this year. Now, usually bad teams, your wide receivers would be pretty stacked on points because they're always losing, so they're going to throw a lot, right? For me, it's just about your boys coming in hurt. Stafford's got a concussion, a broken back, and a bad elbow. None of that really bodes towards me feeling like he's going to be throwing a lot of touchdowns or even passes in general. We'll know if he even plays the whole season. So now I'm thinking, yeah, Cooper Kupp, he's amazing, but am I going to draft a guy at 1-3 who has an iffy quarterback, a bad O-line, and a bad team in general? Cooper Kupp's, his ADP is what did he go in that other league we were in that mock we did, like 1-4 or something?
Yeah, it was pretty early.
And that was because me and the other dude took Jefferson and Chase first.
Let's look at that.
So it's like, and we're talking redraft. So you're going to have this guy for one singular year. Are you willing to bet that Cooper Kupp is going to have like his greatest year? Not saying that I doubt the dude's talent. I had him his first 2 or 3 years, like even when he blew out his knee one year. Like the guy's a stud, but right? I mean, how do you feel about
No, yeah, I mean,
any Rams player on that list?
I wouldn't take anybody else. I mean, I think other than Cooper Kupp, who do they have as their receivers? Tutu at 12, and I couldn't even tell you their receiver cores besides Cooper Kupp, and then Cam Akers, and then they're a definite candidate for a bounce back team. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl and this were terrible last year, but I wouldn't draft Cooper Kupp earlier than like 1-6, 1-7, right? I mean, what's the latest you would take him in the first round?
I mean, let's see. I'm 111 in one league, and like I gotta say, I really might not pick him. Like if he came to me, and
So like wide receiver,
insane.
what wide receiver do you have as? So I mean, we got Chase and Jefferson in front of him, right? Who else would you pick in front of Cooper Kupp?
Probably CD Lamb.
CD Lamb in a redraft?
Yeah.
Dang. I think the only other receiver
definitely Tyreek Hill.
is Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I think that would be the only other one I would consider taking that earlier than.
I like Amon-Ra this year too. I mean, I know he's got a lot of targets to split around, but I just like the guy in general. Like, he was a really consistent guy last year too. So I'm thinking like I would love to have him. I'm like we're saying with this guys, it's just redraft. So it's guys you're gonna have 1 year. Like, do I really want to bet my first round pick that Cooper Kupp's going to have another amazing year when his quarterback sucks, his team sucks? Not that his quarterback sucks, but his quarterback is very hurt.
He is
I
coming off
mean,
an
all
injury as
those
well.
things I named. Plus, he's not getting any younger. And that's the main thing. I think that's where I like to go and think about, especially when I think about players like this. Sorry to go so long on this one guy, but Matt Stafford's like his bread and butter was like he was a super strong arm, which when you have a super strong arm and you're pretty accurate, that bodes well, right? Well, the dude's arm is total noodle arm now. You hurt your elbow. I mean, you had a hurt shoulder in college, right? So like that maybe not took a couple points off of your fastball, right? Like
yeah, I mean,
elbow's even worse.
I had tendonitis in my elbow and it never went away. It's not a thing that goes away, so it is something to look out for. But yeah, my first guy is it's just strictly off of his ADP. It's kind of be early. I mean, I'm not saying don't draft this guy, but I'm not 100% sold on Derrick Henry again this year. That the wheels got to fall off the train eventually, right? I mean, this dude is pushing 30. He's getting 30 carries a game. I mean, I'm not saying don't pick him if he falls to you like the end of the first round, but like I think early first, I'm taking a few guys, namely McCaffrey, Eckler, a few got Bijan, maybe even I'll pick him over Derrick Henry. Just their team isn't. I think their team got worse. Their offensive line definitely got worse, and they weren't too good to begin with. And like I said, those wheels are gonna fall off eventually. So I mean, I have the worst luck in the world, and I picked Henry last year, and he did well. So this year, I'm definitely going to stay away from that guy.
You don't foresee 2 years in a row. Plus, you like Spears, so like you would love to see Spears do well.
That would be cool, though. I would think about drafting Spears later on in the draft, just to handcuff him. And that's another thing. They picked Tajay Spears, so like they were saying he's going to get the receiving work. So that's another. They're taking Derrick Henry off the field on third down, like they already were to begin with. So yeah, like that's just something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple of pundits try to say the Titans are going to have the worst team in the league this year. For me, I'm sticking with the Rams, but you never know. I mean, I also heard a rumor about I think DeAndre Hopkins said, or maybe it was the other guy, their wide receiver they have now, said he would like to play with Hopkins. And then they were like, well, what if he goes? And it's like, okay, they might get that guy. I got you. That's a good way to look at it. But the worst team in the league, I don't know. I see a couple other teams like the Bucks and the Rams being worse, I'm with you on that, though. I could see fading Henry a little bit deeper into the, he's not perennial first 2 or 3 picks this year now for sure. Let me jump onto one that I think is pretty easy that you may agree with. I don't know. I mean, these aren't specifically based on ADP too. Like for this guy, Rachaad White, Bucks running back, I'm kind of just avoiding him in general. I mean, yeah, if he's there in the 20th round and I'm short on running backs, like, yeah, I'll pick him. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think his ADP is around like 7 or 8 right now in most redrafts. Seen 9. I mean, that's really pushing it for me. I mean, I guess if you're looking at the names that are available there and you're looking at Rachaad White and he's supposed to be a starter, okay. I mean, I could see, like we're saying on here, we're not telling you not to pick these guys. These are guys that, for whatever reason, we're just avoiding. And for me, it's not even ADP. I just feel like another team like the Rams, the Bucks are not going to be good. Baker Mayfield's the quarterback. I mean, haven't seen much out of him other than winning that one random game against the Raiders last year.
I mean,
for me, it's more.
Go ahead.
For me, it's just more about, is this guy if he's workhorse, then I'll see that in the year, and I don't mind not taking that chance. So, because I mean, they might sign Leonard Fournette back. Who knows? You never know. I mean,
I think
maybe Rachaad White's not learning the playbook. Who knows?
In the 7th or 8th round, you're looking for maybe your running back 3, wide receiver 3, somewhere around that area, and I think that's actually a pretty good spot for Rachaad White. I mean, like you said, he's going to be on a bad team, so they're gonna run the ball a lot, and then he's a pass catcher, so I think he's going to stay on the field for all 3 downs. He's going to catch a lot of passes from Baker Mayfield, who is kind of a bum now. Like, I mean, I used to like Baker Mayfield, but I mean, let's be honest here, he's not the best anymore, so he's going to be dumping it off a lot, and I think he's going to benefit from that. I mean, they cut Leonard Fournette for a reason, right? I mean, they didn't just get rid of their running back for the past few years just to not give the ball to this guy. So, we can see that. But my next guy will bounce into it since they're on the same team. Just kind of going off of what I was just saying. I'm staying away from Mike Evans, is where he's not even at his ADP. I'm just staying away from him to begin with because his ADP is actually slipping kind of far. He's actually being drafted in the 8th or 9th round as a wide receiver 3 or 4. and that's because that's Baker Mayfield, dude. I was looking at the lines the other day because, like I said, I was doing the NFC South previews, and Mike Evans is projected to go under 1,000 for the first time in his career this year. And that's just got to do with a lot of quarterback play. He's 30. I was telling the guy that I hate Mike Evans, to be honest with you, just as a person in general. As a Saints fan, so I'm definitely not drafting
like
Mike Evans again.
Sure.
That's what I was saying. I was like, dude's a punk. Like, he wants to push people in the back. Like, so you don't want to draft that guy to be on your team. You're gonna rely on him. And then when he doesn't work out, you're gonna be like, wow, should have listened to you with Eric Sonnier over there.
I think that was one thing I wanted to add too, since we're on the same team. I just don't like, for fantasy purposes, when you have guys on every team, like you like say you have Bijan Robinson on one team. You're going to now watch the Falcons way more than you would have because you're going to try to watch Bijan Robinson. And he's the running back, so he's going to be on the field at all time when the offense. So you're basically going to have Falcons on one screen whenever they're playing because you're going to see what he's doing. I'm like trying to avoid watching the Rams or the Bucks this year. Like, I just would rather not watch them.
Not watch bad football.
Yeah, so like that's why I'm picking like Jamar Chase. Like, I want to watch the Bengals. Like, I'll hope I get Joe Burrow in some leagues. I want to watch the Bengals. I'm keeping Mahomes, so I'm going to be watching some Chiefs. I'm hoping to get Kamara or another Saints player, and I'll be watching the Saints a lot. I'll still always be watching the Saints, but it's more fun. I think I talked about this in my article that I wrote on the Saints too. It's more fun having a player that's going to do decently, especially when they're on your hometown team. Like, I had Juwan Johnson last year, so like it added fuel to like, because they all they did was throw to Juwan Johnson in the red zone last year. It was awesome. Like, I think he had like 7 touchdowns. For a guy that's not drafted as a tight end, I was like, this is great. Like, I love this guy. So, and he should only be better next year with Derek Carr. So,
yeah, fantasy football makes you like a football fan, not just like a Saints fan or whoever you want to be. It makes when I started playing fantasy, I only watched the Saints, so I was pretty naive to every other team. You knew the stars, like you knew Tom Brady was on the Patriots, you knew Peyton Manning was playing for the Colts. But like, fantasy makes you want to watch every game on Sunday. It makes you want to watch football from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. So those months that you're not playing football, like, or there's like, from you start August and you end in February when the Super Bowl's done, and it's like, dude, now what do I do for like 4 or 5 months, like until the draft starts? So yeah, I agree, man. It makes you a football fan. So go ahead, give me another one.
All right, this is another one that's not ADP based. This is more injury based. I've probably talked about this before, but I had to put him on the list. It's Tua. Like I just said, I'm high on Tyreek Hill. I probably have him as wide receiver 3, but that's just because Tyreek Hill's a freak. Anybody's going to come in there and throw that dude the ball. Tua for me, 2-3 concussions. I just don't think there's any way he's not hitting the ground once awkwardly for the whole season. So that just leads right to another concussion. If he gets another one, I think he has to sit out like at least 3 weeks. So I think if you're drafting him as your QB1, I just think that's super risky. In one of the drafts we did for one of the mocks we did that actually got posted on our website on fantasy6pack.net I said the best pick was actually Tua, and that's because the guy got him in the second to last round and he didn't have a quarterback. Or no, that was his second quarterback. So I was like, I'm cool with making that choice on a guy like Tua. But if you're drafting Tua in the 5th round and to be your number 1, like thinking he's going to have a Mahomes type season, I just feel like that's super risky. You could stream quarterback and pick a better running back in the 5th or something, So that's kind of where I'm at with Tua.
Yeah, because he's got the weapons. They're probably gonna end up signing Dalvin Cook in my opinion. So they're gonna have a ton of weapons, but yeah, it's just that injury risk. He's so little. The second he gets hit, it looks like he's getting thrown around like a rag doll. So it's only a matter of time, which is sad to say. You don't wish injury on anybody, but it sucks when a player gets hurt, and especially when you draft him as your number 1 guy. So Tua is a risky pick. You want to wait until later on to pick that guy, maybe as a quarterback too, like he was saying. Let's see. Let's go to another running back that I have on here. I'm going to start out with saying David Montgomery. I think that was kind of an easy one to avoid. He went to a better team, in my opinion, obviously, which usually means you should pick him because, when David Montgomery plays, I feel like he is pretty average. But he scores points because he gets so many carries, because he was on the Bears. But now he's on the Lions. They just drafted Jahmyr Gibbs with the 1st-round pick. I do think David Montgomery will still get the crack at the starting job, but I wouldn't draft him as my running back too, and that's where he's going in drafts right now. So I would probably avoid him. Just because like I said, you'd rather Gibbs because he's going to get the passing work, which the Lions are going to have to do a lot. Because they are getting better, but I don't think they're like one of the best teams in the league right now. But yeah, you want somebody that's going to be getting those carries, and he also gets hurt a lot too. It seems like, so you don't want to be risky with that guy either as your running back too. As a running back 3, 4 maybe, but as a running back 2, I'm avoiding him.
I'll agree with you on that one too. I think we were joking about this earlier when we sent these lists. Like, we kind of agree on a lot of the players, except for maybe a few. But with Montgomery, I will say he does have the upside of, Jamal Williams last year had 17 touchdowns. That's a 1 touchdown a game.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to want to put Montgomery in strictly to just run at the goal line. So if he's, I want to say Williams had like 32 goal line touches last year.
It was something ridiculous. I will give you that.
That's nice.
But you got to also think about it. They were doing that because DeAndre Swift, for some reason, they hated him, right? I mean, they didn't like him. He was always injured. Even when he wasn't injured, he wasn't getting those goal line carries. They drafted Gibbs in the first round. You know what I mean? With way higher than he was projected to go. So you got to think about
that's where the risk comes in, right? Exactly, because it might be.
They didn't just the Lions. I think the Lions are a few pieces away from being really good. If they're not going to be really good this year, they're my sleeper team this year to be good. So I feel like I'm kind of going against what I'm saying, but Dave Montgomery does have a chance to be good. But at the running back 2 spot, I'm not taking him there. That's really more what I was saying.
I think that's where we're at on a lot of these players too. They're not. Only a few of them are complete avoids. They're more just try to fade them and get them deeper. And look, a lot of fantasy is strategy too. So when you're at your draft and you're talking to your guys, if you're doing a live draft especially, you can kind of get in some of your other guys' head and be like, Montgomery, man, and he sucks this year. And then maybe everyone agrees with you and he slides, and now you're picking him in the 12th, and everybody's like, hey, you said he sucked this year. And he was like, well, yeah, in the 7th round he sucks, but I just got him in the 12th, So don't be afraid to employ some tactics on your team, on the guys you're playing against. I think that makes it a little more fun at your live drafts, especially.
Oh, dude, all our friends watch this podcast. They're going to be stealing our stuff. That's why I'm nervous to do the players we like, because they're going to be taking them. That happened to me last year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm slipping a guy in here saying I hate him and I really love him.
Right. I'm going to be taking it.
Strategy, dude. Could be part of it. All right. David Montgomery, though, I didn't hate that one, though. I can understand that, especially because I really like Gibbs, so I'm not going to want to pick both of those guys. I'm with you on that. All right. I want to do this one, but I'm going to skip this guy. I'm going to go to Javonte Williams because I know how you feel. For me, this is my thought process. Sean Payton loves to do tandem running backs. Everyone's super high on Samaje Perine. Perine was honestly a super good backup with the Bengals. It's like my second team, I guess, now. I just can't stop talking about the Bengals. But I think, like you said, too, when we talked about this earlier, when I picked Javonte as my RB1 in our mock, that knee injury was a very serious knee injury. He still hasn't practiced or even come back to training camp, right? So,
whoa, no. He has been practicing, buddy.
Oh, he's been practicing.
He's been practicing.
Is he on track to play week 1, though?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is.
He was participating in OTAs. He will be in training camp. They were saying he's actually for the scope of his knee injury, he's practicing harder than Breece Hall is. And Breece Hall was supposed to be, he's definitely going to be ready for week 1, and I don't think he is anymore. So that's what I was going to tell you. I like Javonte Williams. I still do. I mean,
that's funny. I almost put Breece Hall on this list too. So maybe I should have just paid attention a little harder, and I would have put Breece Hall instead.
Because I like Javonte Williams. I think he's a stud running back. I thought he was last year. I mean, I drafted him in my rookie draft when he was drafted that year with the Broncos. And then, Samaje Perine is good. I will give him that, but he is a career backup. I'm not worried about him. But like even if he is going to be a part of the game, like Sean Payton says, we both know too well. One time there was a thing called Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. There was a time it was Mark Ingram and Pierre Thomas. It was a time with Mark Ingram and Dante Hyde. What's his name? Dante Hyde? No, it was Tim Hightower.
Oh.
Was that his name?
We had Hightower. That wasn't it was the other guy we traded to the Jets, the guy with the long Kerry Roberts.
We had Chris Ivory.
Oh, Chris Ivory. That's who it was.
Chris Ivory and Pierre Thomas. Saints always deployed 2 backs, and they always worked out. Like, it was always.
Yeah, you can usually, they're not both, if they even do get 1,000 yards at all.
Yeah.
They probably won't both, but they do usually both have about 600, 700, 800 yards with some touchdowns, a lot of catches. So you are right. I mean, Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush,
Dude, that's
come
what I'm
on.
saying. It was always something with the Saints, and that's Sean Payton. He's the offensive minded coach. He's coming back with the same offense. That's how he gets play out of his quarterback. I mean, Russell Wilson isn't Drew Brees, but I think he's going to bring the best out of Russell Wilson, which will then in turn bring the best out of Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Deluge, or Dulcich, whatever you want to call him, and then Javonte Williams as well. So I think Javonte will be on the field a lot. He is a good pass catcher. But I think Samaje will get a lot of work too. So I think both of them are going to be viable options.
So round 3, into round 3, let's say Javonte Williams is on the board and you have no running backs. You're picking him as your RB1.
No. Not right now, I'm not. Not right now, I'm not. No, I would – because you know me, I always go running back in the first round. So
Right.
I'm going to have at least one by then. Maybe my running back 2 or 3, definitely. But yeah, let's switch to another guy. We haven't talked about any tight ends. I'm going to pick the one that I think everybody's still going to be high on this year, and it's Kyle Pitts. He's going off the board as a tight end 3 behind, tight end 3 or 4 behind Kelsey and Hawkinson, and sometimes Andrews. But it's really he's in that tight end 3, dude. I mean, I just don't like. I don't know what these people are saying the Falcons are going to do. I don't know if people watched Desmond Ridder last year. He's nothing to behold. Like I wouldn't. Like they're all saying like the Falcons are the sleeper team to win the division. How? Like, did you guys watch the Falcons play last year? They were pretty garbage. And Kyle Pitts, I don't. It's not that he's not talented because I mean, dude's a freak. I think he is talented. But the Falcons are bad at offense. They're not going to be able to throw the ball to him. I think he had a 25% target share last year, and he still was horrible. So like. It's because the Falcons aren't good. I mean, he's not. Their quarterback isn't good. And Desmond Ridder, I think the Falcons are going to be a top 5 pick next year.
Oh wow!
And yeah, I think the Falcons are going to be a top 5.
Put it up, Eric.
I think the Falcons
shot.
are definitely going to be they're going to have a top 5 pick. And Kyle Pitts is not going to finish as a top 5 tight end. So in the 6th or 7th round where he's going, no, pass on that hard.
I look, I'm right there with you. The guy I was gonna say, but then I went to Javonte was Drake London, another Falcons player. I'm not impressed with what I've seen from Ridder, and that's not Saints homerism. If Ridder was on our team, I'd be saying we should sign Derek Carr. I mean, not that Derek Carr's the greatest, but
right.
I would just like someone more competent who seems like they can run the offense. I think a lot of people are looking towards Ridder's running ability as which is great for his fantasy stats, maybe, but that's not going to make him throw the ball any better. Maybe maybe they think it's going to open up the field and he'll have more. When Cam Newton came in, people were kind of skeptical, and then I think he threw for 400 yards his first game, and it's like okay, but once people started figuring Cam Newton out, he was out of the league. So it's like you can only do so many gimmicky one reads and then throw the one read routes and stuff, one read plays before you throw the ball.
Right. So you're saying the same thing that I'm saying. Too. Yeah. You're saying the same thing I'm saying with Kyle Pitts is London. They're both talented players, both very good first round picks that should be good. It's just, it's the team they're on. Just like the next guy I'm gonna say, which would be Davante Adams. It's not that I'm saying don't draft Davante Adams because obviously do that. But I'm taking him more in the 2nd, early 3rd round, right? I'm not taking him in that 1st round when there's other guys that don't have a hurt Jimmy G throwing to the ball, or who else do the Raiders have behind Jimmy G? So I'm not taking him there. They just lost Derek Carr, so I'm not throwing Davante Adams in my 1st round pick, even though Davante Adams, in my opinion, is the best receiver in the league. Behind, I mean, Jefferson and Chase are on the way up there, but I mean, still Davante Adams is the best route runner. Has
definitely
the best
in his prime more. Yeah, he's like 29, right? So
so the dude's good. It's just, do you really want to take somebody that has really hard quarterback questions in the 1st round as a receiver if you're going to do that? Because like I said, I like to take running backs in the 1st round. So to pick Davante Adams with a question mark at quarterback in the 1st round just seems kind of silly to me.
Look, I'll tell you what. When I was doing my research for my article and I was looking up Derek Carr, I didn't realize that Davante Adams was wide receiver 3 last year in PPR. So all these people saying Derek Carr ain't no good.
He had like 1,600 yards.
He had a top 3 wide receiver and the number 1 running back. And if Darren Waller played, he might have had a good tight end. And just a few years ago,
I think that's what they're saying. Though they're saying that they had a top receiver and a top running back, and the Raiders still weren't very good.
But I think that was more defensive.
That's what I would say too. That's what I'm saying too.
I think definitely like they tagged on my article. He tagged like a video of Derek Carr like being bad in the red zone and stuff. And it's like, okay, those things. That's a place. The red zone's the hardest spot for quarterbacks. That's what they say.
Right.
Like, the field gets tighter. The defense can play.
Especially when they're just going to focus on Adams. Adams at that point, I mean, it's something. It's there's a lot more that goes into it than just the hardcore stats at the end of the day. I mean, you can look at it like that, but the Derek Carr is definitely a big step up over Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston.
Right, and he's proven to have, like I just said, he had a number one running back and the top 3 wide receivers. So it's not like, even if he's not winning games, we're going to be getting some points on the board, I feel like.
Right.
Which is at least going to make the Saints season fun to watch, because everyone's saying we should finish 3rd or 4th in the division, and I just don't see how people. We were 7-9 last year with Andy Dalton as our quarterback. He is so washed. Like,
I know we are the favorite to win the division, though, like betting wise, so that's good.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, I did. So but the bettors know. They have the script already.
Right.
So they know.
Absolutely. All right, I think you got one more guy. Who we talking about?
I skipped over Kyler Murray. I didn't even realize I did that. Okay, so for me with Kyler, it's similar to Tua, I guess. He's coming off of the injury. He's not as injury prone, but I'm looking at a guy who just hurt his knee, and he's a running quarterback. So he's probably going to run less, which takes away from his overall value. You stick that guy back there as a pocket passer. We've seen the memes. We've watched him in real life. He's not very tall. So you're putting that guy behind a giant offensive line with his big helmet and his visor. Is he seeing guys downfield? We really don't know. I mean, it didn't seem like Hopkins was too mad to be cut from the team, like for being cut and the guy in his prime like that. He wasn't like, I can't. It's not like he got cut from Mahomes, He was like, I'll go find somewhere else to play.
So. I think Kyler Murray is going to be out for like the first 6 weeks. Huh? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to start on the pup. He's not even going to play. I think maybe as a quarterback 2 or 3, you stash on your bench. If you have enough room for him, maybe in the teens, and pick him down there. Because when Kyler Murray plays, he is like a top fantasy quarterback. I'll say that. But like you said, he's a new coach, no Hopkins, no running back really.
Not super impressed with the new coach too. People are saying it's an upgrade on the other guy, and I'm like, is it? It kind of seems like they went sideways. I don't know. So, and this leads into more of what we were saying earlier too. This is just kind of how I'm feeling. I'm not really looking to watch the Cardinals at all this year. So,
that's fair to say. Yeah.
Pick
players you want to watch.
Yeah. So I'm not really looking forward to watching any Falcon. I could see. Cardinals games. I could see the Cardinals and Rams being like literally the 2 worst teams. Cardinals, Rams, Bucks. Depending on how Richardson plays. Another guy I wanted to put on here was Richardson. Maybe the Colts could be a bad team too.
I was thinking about putting him on there, but I didn't want to beat a dead horse. I've been kind of going after him for a while.
I've been so up and down too. Like I swear I see some Twitter videos and I'm like, oh man, I might sneak and draft this dude, And then I'm like, God, he was so bad though. It's just so hard to watch a guy. It's like Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, he can throw the ball far and he can not take sacks and stuff, but then it's like, is he going to learn the playbook and is he going to be able to make reads quickly? Because I feel like that's the hardest thing people don't realize. That's why I knew Joe Burrow was going to be so good, dude. He just sat at the line of scrimmage and he looked like he was in the NFL in the college game. He was like, we're going to do this and this and this. 7 touchdowns in the game. You know what I'm saying? He just looked poised and ready to take on the pressure. And I think that's something that's so important.
I'm not going to give you credit for saying Burrow was good in the NFL when he had the best season ever as a college quarterback. And went number 1 overall.
I said this before that season though when we were watching that game.
I was hating on Joe Burrow before the season that year.
I was like, he looks like Tom Brady in the pocket, and you were like, boo, this guy sucks.
I was so mad. It's just I didn't hate the guy. It's just he came off of we were decent, and then we play Alabama and get shut out. I'm like, this dude blows. Get him out of here. Little did I know
it was that hit he took, dude. It woke something up inside of him, dude. Because I remember we were tweeting in that moment, and I was like, oh, dude, this is it. He didn't like that.
He didn't ever lose a game at LSU after that.
Right. Dude, and I'm telling you, from that moment on, that it was like a different person at the line of scrimmage. It knocked this crazy, not even sense into him. He was just poised and like if when you take a hit like that, you're not afraid of like some dude coming off the edge. You're like, dude, I just took a blindside hit from a 6'7" D tackle running full speed.
Absolutely.
I'm not scared. So, and he showed that in his rookie season by tearing his ACL and stuff by playing so reckless, So it can go both ways as being not the greatest. So.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, so that was our team. That was our, players to avoid. We're gonna pick some more. We're gonna play some hates, some likes before the season starts. It's still kind of early. It's early July, so I do want to start off by saying the Scott Fishbowl draft starts on the 10th. They actually have some live drafts going in the next couple of days. But like the drafts for pretty much everybody else they start on the 10th. I'm sure that everybody else already knows who what the Scott Fishbowl draft is and all that good stuff. It's that charity league that I'm talking about pretty much everybody who does the fantasy football in the industry and fans and such, they play in this league. So I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know if Blake didn't sign up correctly, so he's going to try and get in next year. But I got in this year for my second year. I'm in the Funyuns division. I have pick 1.9. It's a 2-quarterback league. Well, it's a super flex quarterback league.
Oh, okay.
So you can play a quarterback in your flex. So, I mean, everybody picks quarterbacks pretty early on. I picked 9 because I liked the area. There's 9 quarterbacks that are going to be good. So I feel like no matter what, if I get any of those 9, I'll be okay. So I'm doing some mocks and looking like Trevor Lawrence is going to be that guy for me at 9. Unless somebody likes Trevor Lawrence in that range, then I won't pick him. Trevor Lawrence or Fields seems to be the ones that go for me. But yeah,
I would lean Lawrence too. He definitely seems like he's coming into his own. He's got some stud players on his team.
That's who I'm hoping for. Hopefully nobody that is in my division watches this and sneaks in from me. But
they're taking notes. He wants Lawrence. So I got 8.
Right. But yeah, so next week or whenever we do our next episode, I will talk about. By that point we'll at least have one pick going because I know there are slow drafts. So it's going to take a while, but I might have 1 or 2 picks that I can tell you guys about. But, with that being said, I'm going to reiterate one more time to please like, subscribe, you hit that little bell and get notifications when the Fantasy Six Pack posts some videos because we're going to be posting a lot going forward because the season is coming up soon. Become an all-access member of Fantasy Six Pack to get access to reward-winning rankings, our new draft cheat sheets, DFS projections, betting tools, and all that good stuff. fantasysixpack.net/plans. You got anything before we go?
Just a couple quick things. I'll try not to be long-winded like usual, but I will say we're going to be coming back hopefully within the next 2 or 3 episodes with running back rankings, wide receiver rankings. I know that's something we wanted to do. We kind of just wanted to push it closer towards. We did QBs and tight ends already. A lot of those guys, they're wearing red shirts in practice, so they're not getting hurt. So we're kind of we knew who those guys were. We can make those rankings. Running backs, wide receivers, we got guys like Saquon Barkley who might hold out. So we're kind of trying to wait for some things to fall before we release those rankings, and that's where we're at. I'm coming up on 1,200 views, I don't know, on the article I wrote about the Saints. So thank you. It would be nice if anybody still watching here would go click on that on fantasysixpack.net. We actually, both of us we're monetized. We're getting paid to play fantasy. So if I get last place in every league this year, I'm breaking even. So this is great. You know what I'm saying? This is why we did this. Thanks to the viewers and the people who comment and like and stuff for giving us the opportunity, and especially shout out Joe Bond for allowing us to have a podcast on the network and giving us even the opportunity to write and stuff because it was something I was really dreading, leading up to it, and then once I did it, I was just I put down almost 2,000 words, and I was just I gotta cut some of this out. I was deleting paragraph. I deleted a full paragraph. I was this has gotta go. No, this is too long. I think part of it was readability and we wanted it to be a shorter article. So I was let me just cut this out. So it was cool to be able to do that. Thanks to y'all out there. That's about it. Time to tap out, right?
Tapping out. See y'all next time.
All right. Peace out.